hang on. So, let me see if this is gonna stay. He looks a little beat up. What's going on? Oh, that's mine.
Morning.
What's going down, brother?
How you doing?
What's going on? Same old man, still alive? What's up with you, man? It's been a while.
I know, it's been a while.
All right.
How you doing? Good.
Hey, so I'm gonna turn on this the fan.
Yeah, they're also
All right, let's get started because only got an hour, and then Alan's gonna come and do a presentation on something about loans. I don't really know what. Yeah.
Oh, good.
Yeah, so something about money. I just
Lender.
found this out right now. Okay,
He's a
so
lender?
yeah, Alan Party. So they got good programs and all that.
Yeah, he does. I talked to him last week.
He's real good, and if Maria's impressed with him, then he's good because she doesn't get impressed with anybody. You know? Okay, so on this one, I'm gonna talk about FHA, VA, the appraisal and inspection requirements. Okay, because you know that this is kind of a big issue that comes up in what kind of houses qualify for FHA and VA, and it's important to know when you have a listing or you're gonna get a listing to see if that particular house is gonna even qualify for it. Okay, and also if the listing agent doesn't really know, they might put this is FHA VA qualified when they put it on the MLS, you know, and it really won't pass. Or that it could pass and they just don't put it, you know, but that's really up to the seller if they want to accept it or not. So the types of homes that FHA will accept, 1 to 4 family homes. Single family up to quadruplexes is what FHA will allow. Okay, no commercial stuff like that, no little apartment in the back. Okay, it needs to be 1 to 4 family. Just if you can write it on the 1 to 4 family contract, your regular purchase agreement, FHA can qualify. Manufactured homes permanently affixed to land. This is not so much of a big deal here in El Paso County, but in like in Las Cruces, you know, of course, it's a very big deal. Half the state is mobile homes. But if you do get one out in the county, it does need to be permanently attached to the ground. And the simple way of doing that is, does it have an engineer's report?
Is the what?
If it has an engineering report.
Okay.
So whenever they, you know, I've had deals where the mobile home is just sitting on the blocks and they kind of just, you know, because the mobile home parks that they just kind of put them in. And the appraiser will look under there. Well, they won't really know what they're looking for, but they'll ask for an engineer's report.
And what is that engineer's
So-
report? What is it?
It's a regular structure engineer that goes and they need to install straps. So you'll have your mobile home like, for example, I'll use this. So if you have your mobile home like this, and then here's the ground, they have the straps, and they're metal straps. They go and then they drive stakes into the ground and then they ratchet them closed.
Oh,
But
that's
they're
what it means attached to?
Yes, so it's permanently attached.
Permanent.
Which, and then they also remove, they have to remove the, get something on my but they also have to remove the wheels and the transportation stuff, like the tail hitch or the trailer hitch,
Yeah.
stuff like that. So it's permanent attached. And then FHA will consider it.
But it doesn't mean it has to have utilities?
Oh yeah, it has to have the utility
It
hookups
has
and
to have gas lines and all that kind of
yeah, so it has to be livable.
No, yeah, but it can't have the tanks, is what I'm getting at.
Oh, like propane tanks?
Yeah.
Yeah, it can have that.
Oh, it can.
Yeah, it can have, it has to have energy source. Yeah, a heating energy source. Now, so here in El Paso, I have not really heard of, you know, much about propane tanks. It's very common in New Mexico. But if you do happen to come across a house like that, like maybe in Socorro, or you know,
Genevieve.
yeah, somewhere
They do have.
somewhere way out there in the county. those tanks are usually serviced by a company.
Mm-hmm.
And be careful with those because they'll have contracts. Similar like solar system. Okay, there was a lawsuit in Las Cruces that I was not a party to, but I did the inspection on it. And they tried to put me in, but no, you know, nah. But what happened is the listing agent didn't put it, he put that the tank was owned by the seller, which they're very expensive. They're very expensive to buy a tank. And they usually rust within some years and they have to replace. And then the buyer moved in and the buyer called one of the private gas companies to come fill it up with propane. They went to fill it up. It was all the permanent line that goes from the tank to the house was completely rusted and destroyed. And it wasn't put in the seller's disclosures. Seller's disclosure put no known defects.
I wonder if they knew.
And then here's the thing. The company that called said, yes, we service this house. We've already issued a work order that we cannot refill it, and so the seller knows. And he just said, just put enough to where the stove and furnace will turn off for appraisal. And so that company testified, and they sued him pretty bad for material defect. You know, so a little quick story there for you. You know, okay. Age does not matter on the house. Okay, some people say, well, it's very old, it might not qualify. Age doesn't affect FHA. Condition does, but not age. Heating must be done by a permanent source. Okay, so, you know, no like portable units or stuff like that. Okay, so I'll get into that right now. But you can't have like, you know, window units or a little space heater, things like that. It has to be permanent source, you know, permanent HVAC source. Okay, does not violate 90-day flip rule. Who do we have this with? We had a situation with you. You know, I think a lot of people have had that situation. Okay, 90-day flip rule is if you have an investor, which if you're an investor, you shouldn't be buying houses with FHA anyways. But they buy a house with FHA, they fix it really quickly and put it back on the market prior to 90-day expiration. Now, if a new buyer is going to buy it using FHA, they cannot do that. They have to wait 90 days. A savvy listing agent will know this, and it doesn't mean they can't sell it. They can, but they have to wait the 90 days to have the executed contract date. So sometimes when you see on MLS, and if you look for them, you'll see them. It'll have on the confidential remarks, this is subject to 90-day flip rule. Put your dates like this, and then they'll put, you know, they'll say like cannot sell until maybe a month or so. Can't be that long because 90 days. I mean, how long does it take to do the repairs? You know,
Yeah.
I mean maybe a month or two.
Is
So-
that for all all loans?
Everything that's FHA, yeah,
Oh.
They
So
don't have-
only FHA?
only FHA.
Oh.
Yeah. Conventional, you could sell it the next day.
Okay.
VA is the same. VA. Yeah, the VA, FHA, government insured loans. You know.
So that applies to any FHA,
Yes.
house, mobile,
Mm-hmm.
manufacturer.
Okay. Roofing systems. Okay, I'm gonna get into the actual inspection part now, what VA or what FHA or VA appraisers will look for. Okay, so first thing is the roof conditions. If your roof looks like this, they're not gonna like that. Okay, usually appraisers do not get on the roofs, but they do see it from the ground. I have seen appraisers get something similar to this pole here. I have the camera on, and then they'll put a big mirror and then they'll look like that. I've seen them do that, you know, when I'm there. And it's just like insurance companies. The minimum, it has to have a minimum of 2 years service life. So that's basically an estimate. You know, I mean, they see it, they're like, okay, well, we should get about 2 years from it. Okay? So it's usually both about, you know, visual inspection on it. And if there's any evidence of leaks. So if it has any kind of stains on the inside, or if it looks like it can be actively leaking, it'll be a lender required repair. Okay. A thing to know about FHA, VA, even conventional loans, is the mortgage company, the lender, can set the guidelines. There's some times where conventional will say, well, why are you calling that out? Lender required repair. Conventional is not supposed to have any of that. You know, but the lender can put that. Because I was doing an inspection, the appraiser showed up, and I always talk because it's good to pick people's brains to see what they do, right? And every appraiser is a little bit different. And this appraiser, he had a clipboard, and he was an older guy. And then I tell him, I said, is it gonna be, what is it? What's this loan? He goes, oh, it's just conventional. And then I said, oh, so easy money. He goes, well, not really. And then he looked and he goes, and he showed me a list. He goes, this is what the lender wants me to look for. Any kind of stains, any deterioration, any signs of, water leaks. I was like, what? I thought that was like for VA or something. And he goes, this particular lender won't approve it unless it has this, even if it's just conventional. He's on the phone. So we're gonna do another check. So
Okay. Oh.
they're all
Yeah,
set.
they're stacked up.
Okay.
This one is the package.
That's one.
Okay. Tú pasa. Okay.
You want to sit over here?
Yeah. Okay. So, evidence of roof leaks, right? So if it has anything like that, any kind of stains inside, or if it looks like, past leaks, it'll be a lender requirement.
But not every lender.
FHA, VA, yes.
Oh, just,
Yes.
talking
FHA.
about everything.
Conventional,
Yeah,
more
okay.
relaxed,
FHA,
unless
okay.
they put that stipulation.
Okay, yeah.
Like that one appraiser told me, he's like, this is like a strict VA loan. He goes, but the lender wants me to look for it.
Mhm.
Why is it not showing up? There we go. Okay, back. So exterior, no damage present. Okay, so look around the outside. If you see chipped, peeling paint like that, or especially because this is the wood, right? This is exterior wood. This is the kind of top of the house. This I see that quite a bit. So any kind of chipped or peeling paint, they're not gonna like that. You'll have to have a handyman go in there, sand it down, and then repaint it. This here too, this is called a fascia. See, this is the roof line. Roof is up here. Soffit, fascia. Easy way to remember because you'll see this a lot on your inspection reports. Fascia, faces. Faces out. Soffit is like soft underbelly. That's how I remembered it for my state exam many years ago. Okay, so fascia, if you see on the reports, fascia has damage. Fascia, right here, fascia, and then soffit. Okay, damage stucco. Of course, it won't like that. Any kind of damage like that, even if it's bricks, any kind of structural damage like that, they're gonna want that fixed. Simply because it can lead to more deterioration. Okay, so the government insured loans are very particular about making sure that the outside is in good shape so water doesn't get in and damage the inside. Okay? You protect the outside, you protect the inside. Okay. Something is going on with my slides. Keep showing the same one over and over. Okay. Broken windows. So if you look around, there can't be any broken windows. They'll call that if they see any kind of broken windows. So the fogginess inside, someone will say fog. I haven't heard of them requiring those to be replaced. Have you seen that?
No.
Even if they're fogged, because they're still working.
One every
They-
time.
What's that?
All the broken ones, even if it's a little crack.
Yeah.
They always ask, yeah. But if it's just fogged,
Like the bathroom?
I just
No,
went
like-
through that, and they didn't require it.
yeah, because it's a broken seal. Well, yeah, that report, right?
Yeah.
So it's when you have the double pane windows,
Oh.
and then the seal breaks, and it's all fogged inside.
Yeah.
And it looks like it's permanently dirty. But it's in between the glass.
The double pane, okay.
Yeah, the double pane ones.
Uh-huh.
So inspection reports, we put it, but appraisers, because the window still works.
Yeah.
It's just lost some of its thermal insulation. That because it's filled with argon gas.
Okay.
So,
So
but
foggy,
actual
it's still-
Yeah, actual broken ones, even a little crack or whatever, they want it fixed, but it's a safety issue. Security bars. Okay, the security bars, you know, here in El Paso, there's a lot of that, you know, a lot of iron everywhere, and it needs to have the release with one hand motion, not a double deadbolt. Back in the day, in the 80s and prior, it was like a deadbolt, like on the door, where they'll just hang a key on the inside and you can unlock it, right? And it's like an actual deadbolt that you put on the door, right? Those are not allowed. It must be one hand release with one motion.
Are you talking about the square ones that have the little thing?
Yeah,
Open it?
like a little handle, like that. Yeah, and it looks like a big bolt coming out of the
Yeah.
wall, and it looks kind of ugly. There's some others that it looks like a little box, and you put your thumb through it and then push it. So it looks like a little box, like a little box, and if you look on the side, it has a hole, and you put your thumb in there, and there's a button. And you push the button, and then it pops the bars. Yeah,
So the ones that have the padlock on them, that's a no more?
can't, yeah, can't have that. No, you cannot use a key to get out. You have to be able to just do it with one motion.
So what happens with that? Do they have to remove the?
So there's a couple options. There was one that I was there and I saw, and the appraiser was there at the same time, and so was the seller. You know, the seller was there also, and he says, you know, because the bars had no releases. I mean, it was just straight bars. So he says, if you remove them, just remove them right now. You know, pull them off the wall. Let me take a picture, and then you can put them back on. Because what you do after, you know, it's your house. You know what you do after. He says, but I have to show that these weren't on. That appraisal was nice. You know, he played ball with that. You know, so, but to pass appraisal, either remove, or if the, you know, if buyers really want it, then they can cut the bars and then install the doors. So
Is that on all the bars, or is that just on
just
bedrooms?
just bedrooms?
Just bedrooms.
Yes. So each bedroom has to have a way of escape. Yeah. If it doesn't have a way, like these windows are not appropriate for escape. For one, they're too high. They're above 44 inches, and then they don't open. And then it's on the second level. And so there has to be a way for escape from the bedrooms. Okay, functionality. It's like a bunch of slides of the same. I don't know what happened to the program. Okay, so the HVAC system needs to be functional. Okay, so the appraiser is going to go in there and he's just going to turn it on and make sure it turns on and that it works. He's not really going to do an in-depth inspection like an actual inspector is going to do, but it needs to work. It needs to turn on by normal controls, which is the thermostat, right, or switches. Age doesn't matter. Okay, so they can't say, well, it's over 10 years old, needs to be replaced. No, that's not appropriate. Age does not matter for the HVAC as long as it works and it's in safe operation. No freestanding space heaters. Okay, so someone will say, well, it's got a heater, but it just plugs into an outlet. We're gonna leave it here for you. That's not appropriate either. It needs to be a permanent source. Like wall heaters, those are fine, you know, because it's permanent. It's a fix to the house.
Oh, okay.
But space heaters, for one, it's a fire risk, and then that's not appropriate. You know, same thing like with window air conditioner units. Those are not appropriate. Those are, I mean, they work, but they're not appropriate for appraisal standard because they can be easily removed, and then the house is considered no air conditioning.
Are the mini splits removable?
No, mini splits are permanent. Those are permanent units.
What are those? Mini split.
It's like those that you see. That's a little box on the top, and then it kind of opens, and it's refrigeration. It's just like a refrigeration system, but
Yeah.
miniature.
On the
Miniature.
window or just?
No,
the
it's on the
wall?
wall.
It's on the wall. Oh, on the wall. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. They're
Yeah,
like
so-
refrigerated air, huh?
Mm-hmm.
It's like the ones at the hotel.
What
Oh,
about the
instead
gas?
of being done
Yeah,
here,
here,
it's
up
on
on
the wall.
Yeah, I saw the material.
Gas,
They're pretty
gas,
cool.
kind of
Are
heaters,
they?
you know,
The little ones that
Yeah,
have a
I
little
did see-
chimney
I did
or
see.
something.
I know.
Yeah.
no, they
go
call it like
over,
in Mexico, they call it
yeah.
sky Spanish.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
the Spanish,
And they're like
because
$1,000
look like they was
also.
very, very common in Spain. That's why it's a unit,
The whole thing,
small
yeah.
unit.
Oh, there's that.
Is that Alan?
What's going down, homie?
Is that Alan?
You guys up too? Alright, good man. Still alive, still alive. What you got there, man? Come on back. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
The home must be structurally sound to provide a livable environment for its inhabitants. This means that the foundation needs to be properly graded, your roof can't be caving in, all that stuff. So if it's a big fixer-upper and you can't actually live in there as it is, no FHA or VA. So it needs to be actually livable and provide a safe area.
Okay, it's not like an investor will go in and just, no, everything has to
It has to be livable.
It has to be
be livable.
Yeah. Well, for example, if it doesn't have a door on the back door and the house is just open, they're gonna say, hey, this is not secure. You know, it doesn't provide a safe environment. Or if the roof is caving, stuff like that. You know, insulation's coming out of the wall, or an obvious pest infestation, stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know, something that the appraiser's gonna be like, oh, heads up.
What if it has asbestos?
No, asbestos is okay, you know, as long as it's like encapsulated, because I mean, most building stuff has asbestos in it. Insulation has asbestos. These tile ceilings, I'm sure they got asbestos in them.
What
You
if
know?
it's like they started but they didn't finish and you have to go in and show the house?
If they started asbestos removal, that can be tricky, because, you know, asbestos removal, they has to be done by a specialist. Yeah, so you know, I mean, you can do whatever you want with your own house, you know, the sellers, wherever they can do whatever they want. But if it's like the asbestos tiles, is that what you're talking about? Like little tiles?
Yes.
They're asbestos tiles?
Because I showed a house that it had, the tile was being removed but they didn't finish. It was all messed up.
Okay, yeah, so no FHA. So, and the thing is that I didn't think so, but I ran into a deal where it was just the concrete floors because they polished them. to
Yeah, the
make it-
little house on.
Huh?
Was it the little house that you guys have
Mm,
for sale?
no, well, that
How was
one
it?
has it like that, but this was a big house in Las Cruces.
Oh, okay.
So it was a high end, like $500,000. And it had the kind of polished concrete.
Yeah, they
Not
didn't
real
pass.
high end, yeah, but they didn't pass it. The FHA said it needs a floor covering. They were like, it is. That's the style. But no, it needs carpet or tile. And it's like, what the hell? I mean, that is the style, but they wouldn't approve it. They say you can't have a bare concrete slab. You know, so the seller got the cheapest carpet to have it installed, and then afterwards just remove it. You know, and then that's how you got it passed. So for the floors, that they wouldn't like it because it's half peeled off.
Or FHA and VA, don't they need asbestos inspection? Is
Not
that
asbestos,
required?
lead-based paint.
Oh,
So
but not asbestos? I thought it was.
I've never heard of asbestos.
Required- no?
For inspection. No.
But did she
I'm not
actually install
for-
the carpet or did she just lay it?
They kind of just laid it, cut it to a perfect size, and just laid it in
You
there.
install it, you're gonna poke holes in the.
Yeah. No,
Oh,
they,
yeah.
just,
Keep
they
that
said
on
they
the
just
floor.
they just laid it in, didn't want to, just to get it passed.
Okay, so no asbestos inspection required.
No, I've never heard of that.
I don't know why.
No, asbestos. It's because asbestos is in the insulation, and it's not really dangerous unless you go poke at it and start breathing it over. Like I'll put another class on shortly, but the federal government's making a big deal out of lead-based paint now, and it's going to affect our rental division pretty
Oh,
bad. Lead-based paint.
Oh,
Oh, it's getting stupid. I mean, stupid. Well, it's like too much government oversight right now. You guys need to kick back with it, but anyways, another rant for another day. Okay? So, exterior conditions. Exterior, it needs to have street access. Okay. So the property has to have direct street access. If you have to cross through another property to gain access, the FHA won't allow the loan to move forward. Now, this means you,
No easement?
yeah, they can have easements.
Okay.
If there is no actual legal easement, they'll have to get one.
Okay.
Okay, negotiate with the other landowner that's landlocking them in, or somehow
Oh,
to get a survey to get an easement, because it has to have access to the highway, to the road. Okay, direct street access. So you can't say, well, I gotta go over my neighbor's yard to get there. You know, because they can landlock you in. And any time they say, no, you can't cross my property no more, how you gonna get it? Okay?
You know what I was thinking? It's the little bugs that he would. Termite.
Oh, termites?
Termite, isn't it?
They have to have the that
Yeah,
inspection.
okay,
Yes.
that's what I don't know why I was
Mhm.
thinking that, okay.
Yeah.
Asbestos, no.
They do.
FHA means,
Termite.
termite?
Yes. Government
I
insurance.
know that
FHA.
VA does. It's
FHA as well.
Okay.
Termite inspection. Safety hazards. Safety hazards outside of the home, like uneven driveway, could disqualify a home from FHA loan. So there's always going to be cracks in the driveways.
Yeah.
And the reason why is because of the weight of the vehicles. The vehicle weight is what causes the cracks in driveways and garages. And also, driveways are independently poured from the house foundation. They're not the same foundation. It's a different type. The house foundation is engineered separately than the driveway. So that's why the driveway sometimes will look uneven. On the older houses, it can be real split up. Normal little cracks, like this, if you had size of cracks like the tile separations, it's no big deal. But if it's real uneven like that, where it can cause damage to the car, trip hazards, okay, trip hazards, things like that, FHA appraiser might put that in, or VA appraiser. It's really up to appraiser discretion because they're the eyes of the vendors, right?
So it's saying uneven, like as in cracks, not uneven like as in our house. It's like a.
Oh yeah, no, because it's access. You can get to it. You can have a little bit of a steep driveway, but it was approved by municipal code. Municipal code is what governs how houses are built. Interior conditions. Okay, the home must contain sufficient living space for its inhabitants. Although the size required varies, the home must provide enough sleeping space and adequate room for eating. So the amount of space required for the family of 5 is more than a single homeowner. Okay, so basically, it's just you gotta be able to live in your country. Okay, if you have a tiny little closet, you call it that's my kitchen. It's not really gonna work, right? And it's really up to appraiser. Now, bedrooms have to have a minimum size. I think it's 70 square feet or so for bedrooms, which is pretty small. Yeah, that's pretty small. But so like that, you can't say, if you have 3 closets in the hallway, you call each one a bedroom for the step kids or something. That's not gonna work, right? Okay.
So walk-ins are pretty good size.
They are. You can stuff a few kids in there.
Yeah.
Just cut a little hole to the password to food. Anyways, but you see, that's the point. And then plus it has to have its windows and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. Sanitary water supplies are a must. So, here in El Paso and in the county, it's not much of a big deal because most of it's all on utility connection anyway. Okay, so in Las Cruces and most of the state of New Mexico, it's well systems, and like half the country is that. Anywhere that's not next to a big city, you'll have some houses that are on well systems, and when it's on well, they have to have a well inspection. And what they do is a well inspector will come and take a sample of the water. For one, he tests to make sure the well is working, and he tests the voltage and how much amperage is using to make sure it's still going to work. Because to replace a well pump is very expensive. It can run 5-10 grand. Okay, to replace, especially they have to drill it because the water table dropped too much and they have to drill deeper. It is very expensive to do that. Okay, so and then they test the water to make sure it's drinkable. That it's not, contaminated or anything like that. So it has.
That well drives all that water inside the house for
Yeah.
everything?
So they drill.
I mean, the pump?
They drill straight down, yeah, and then there's a little pump on the surface. The pumps are real small. It's not this big like oil rig looking thing.
And they're electric?
Yeah, they're electric. So if you ever go to a house, I have a video on the YouTube where I show a well inspection, where I'm there inside the well house and I show you what I look at as well. I don't do the portable testing and all that because I don't do the water test, but I'll look at the well system. It has a blue tank, expansion tank, all that. Water tastes really good, if you have a good well. It's actual groundwater, not processed or anything like that, But if you run out of water, it's very expensive to fill it, And if you have your neighbor that's drilled deeper, he can suck all the water out of you. Okay? So, utilities and pest inspections, okay? Put a Z in there. I just noticed that. Who made this slide? Okay, so utilities such as water, sewer, gas, and electricity must be in good condition. Additionally, a unit must have its own utility connection. For example, if buying a townhouse, utility service must be available for individual meters. So if it's a duplex, it can't be on the same meter for both units. If you say, well, we both just split the water bill, each one has to have its own connection. There is a lot of houses like that, especially you get out in the county, or historical houses, like here in the middle of the city, you'll have it divided, but it's still on the same one. It's like those that, it's 4 units, because you can't have more than 4 units for those, and, owner pays all utilities, so it's just 1 meter. We won't be able to sell it if you're going to sell it as each unit, Okay.
Well, you can sell it conventional, but you can't sell it.
Yeah, conventional.
Yeah.
The FHA, each living quarters,
Each one.
or each residential living section, or house, whatever, has to have its own connection. Pest infestations. Any pest infestations must be dealt with, but some can be a deal breaker. For example, a termite infestation could lead to unsafe structure and cause failed inspection. So the FHA is always going to require termite inspection, right? Now, there is, most of the time, like 98% of the time, it's very easy. Treat the termites. They go, it's about $800 to $1,000, and they treat it, and then it's done, all good. Termite inspector sends that report to the buyer's agent to listing agent to the debtor. Yes. But in rare occasions, which I've seen them, sometimes the damage is too extensive from the termites, where you can visually see structure damage, and then it'll be on the termite report. They'll put on there, visible actual structural damage, and usually the appraiser will put it too. They'll also require that to be fixed, because it's structural. Okay, so any questions on this one? I'm gonna go to the regular inspection slide real quick since we still got like 25 minutes. And I'll explain to you the differences in where is this? Oh, it's right here. So this I'm gonna go into. I'll kind of run through this one. There's been a lot of changes in the home inspection, especially in New Mexico. I know we have our preferred inspectors and all that we use, and then I've made the list of the inspectors that I've approved for here. And basically the inspectors that you don't see on that list are inspectors that I don't think do good reports. Maybe they put stupid stuff in there or whatever, but you cannot prevent your client from choosing an actual state licensed inspector. Okay, if they want a certain guy, and unless the seller doesn't allow it to go. If Maria does put that sometimes on her stuff. if you have actual knowledge that an inspector damages property, you can advise your seller when you have a listing, hey, you know what, this particular inspector, we've had one in Las Cruces, he's known to break stuff. So, you know, he's broken windows, he's I don't know how you break things, but some people do, you know. I mean, I never break even my own stuff, but I'm very careful with everything. And so they'll tell the seller, and then they'll put on the confidential remarks, these inspectors are not allowed in seller's property. Same with builders. You'll see some builders, a big one, builders, some of them they'll say, this is a list of inspectors, and there might only be 5 of them. And then there's 60 in the city. And the buyer will say, well, I'm not gonna pick your inspectors because they might be in your pocket. So I'm gonna pick my own. And the builder say, nope, here's your earnest money back, get out. Not selling you the house anymore. Classic American was doing that, pretty aggressively. And I remember when we were with APD, they were doing that too. They have every right to do it. Some people threaten to sue, but they can't because the builder owns the house. They own the house until the buyer pays for it. Mm-hmm. And the buyer's not paying for it, the lender is, right? And the buyer pays back the lender. But that's the thing. It's just like my house. If I'm selling my house, I will give you a list of inspectors that will come in. Other than that, no one else is coming to my house.
Is that the reason for if it doesn't sell, you know it's still safe in the sense?
If it doesn't sell, it's
Right, like
safe.
let's say the buyer comes and has a inspector in mind, but you say no. And so they pick one of yours, and then it's just like in the long run, if they don't end up buying it, you're still stuck with the house. So kind of like a safety issue for you, or like for the seller, or like what's
No, but the purpose of giving them a list? You mean like the builders?
with that too? Yeah.
So, you know, most builders, the reason why, for one, because there was a few inspectors here, you know, because Point Homes had a big issue with them. And now it was Desert View, okay? They don't like inspectors to get on the roofs, okay? And I understandably so, because it's brand new. Some inspectors don't know how to walk on a roof, and they destroy the shingles. They twist their feet up in there, and then it mess them up. And especially tile roofs.
Mm.
You're not supposed to walk on tile roofs unless you really know how. I can walk on it, and I won't break anything. You know, remember that roofer that went to your house? I mean, the dude was like 400 pounds.
Yeah.
He was a gorilla. And that dude goes, I'll walk, and I was like, oh boy, you are gonna break it. And he goes, no man, I worked in Phoenix for 25, Phoenix is all tile roofs, 'cause it's so hot. And he walked, and remember I was looking, I was like,
Yes.
this guy's gonna, but he didn't break one single time.
Yeah.
Big old gorilla, man. You know, he was
Yeah,
a rhino
like,
up there.
like you're gonna bust my roof.
Yeah, but he never broke it. He never broke one. You know, he said, I've been a roofer for like 30 years, man. He goes, I know how to do it. I was like, all right, you know. So you can do it, but you need to know how to do it.
Mhm.
So, you know, I just had an inspection where I did it, and it was Desert View in Las Cruces. And as I'm getting my ladder out, the Desert View foreman was right there, and he was waiting for me. He was waiting for me to do that, and he right away came and ran up to me. He goes, hey man, can't get on the roof, dude. And I say, oh no? And then he goes, no man. He goes, we don't allow that. I said, fine with me. You know, I say, it's all good. All I put in the report is builder refused to allow inspection of the roof. You know, and they tell that to the buyers. You know, they'll tell you, hey, your inspector can't get up there. And I mean, I get it because they don't want that damage. You know, because the inspector's not gonna say, hey, sorry, I damaged your roof, here's my insurance info. Nobody's gonna do that. You know? That's it. So that's why. And also because they've been getting hit with OSHA violations. Because it's wherever they allow on their construction site, it's technically under construction until certificate of occupancy is issued. Yes? Once that certificate's issued, then it's residential property and it's deemed to be finished. Yeah? So if it's currently under construction still, everybody that goes on there, the builder's responsible. So if an inspector falls off the roof, or an agent, or a buyer that wants to get up there, they're responsible.
So the builders
Did that
actually
answer your question?
Yeah.
get the inspectors to go out there to inspect
Cause
the
there's
houses?
inspectors
The
that
what?
do
The
something.
builders?
Right.
Yeah.
There's
They
one
actually,
particular one that this guy
hire the
removes
inspectors,
basement.
an inspector to go and inspect their
He
new
actually-
houses?
Yeah.
Well, some builders will. I used to work for a builder called BMF.
BMF.
Yeah, I'm not sure they're still around. Man, he built some beautiful house. He built about one house he would only build about 12 houses a year.
Mhm.
So it was about one a month. But
Very
he would
nice.
put his entire crew on one house at a time. I mean, he hired me, the builder would hire me and he would say, I want the inspections because I want to keep track of the quality
Mhm.
of the work. I mean, even the paint, like the paint above the door jambs, like up here, like on the top. Nobody paints it, you know? Nobody's the builders don't paint above the doors or you open a door and on top of the door.
Yeah.
I mean, you just go to your house and when your hand, it's bare wood.
Mhm.
Nobody's gonna paint up there. But he paid the painters to paint all that. He goes, I pay them very good, so I need to make sure that they're doing it. So I would have mirrors, I mean, like a dentist, you know, looking up there. I mean, it was quality control, you know, and he paid me really well. And he sold the houses for very expensive.
Mhm.
I mean, they were a lot of money, but they would sell because of the very meticulous quality
Yeah, they would.
that he would do. So some builders do hire the inspectors, you know, but most of them just go by, you know, city code, you know, and then their reputation, you know.
But there's one particular inspector, this guy actually will tear your baseboards out.
Yeah, so
He'll actually pull your baseboard boards out looking for termites.
Oh.
yeah, we've had some issues. I won't say it, okay? But you can just see some of Maria's listings, and his name is in it, okay? So some of them will do that, and there was another inspector here locally, but he already retired. And the builders would not allow him on the property because he would remove some parts of the wall to look in there just
And
to see
leave it there?
to see if it had insulation.
I mean,
He put it back, but he damages it. You know, he cuts little
You can't
holes.
pull a baseboard out without damage.
No.
Isn't that?
No, it's
That's
not.
what I can't figure out. I don't think it is. but-
It's not legal. You know,
but he would fight you on it.
yeah, he would. He would get mad, says I can do it, and he would hang up. And I've got into it too, and I told him, you know, you better fix this right now, or I'm gonna report you to the state. He didn't care.
But he's gone now, or not gone, but like, I mean, he's retired now, right?
Well, the one that was doing it, did you kill him?
You made sure, Kelly.
I had him take him to J-Town, you know? He's still hanging from that bridge too. Anyways, I had to edit that, man. Dang. Okay, so you know, but no, that particular guy, he's retired. But the one that pulls the baseboards out, he's still around there. Still. Okay. How much time we got? What does a home inspection do? Okay, we'll run through it kind of quick. So the inspection is a non-invasive inspection of the property. Yes. Okay, so y'all know that. Non-invasive, right? Non-invasive. Okay. The inspector will check the main components of the structure. You know, roof, electrical, foundation, plumbing, things like that. Okay. You've all had inspections already. You've been through. You kind of see what the reports are. Okay. I'm gonna go through it, you know, fairly quickly so we can get to the nitty-gritty part of it. What does a home inspection do? Okay, walls, ceilings, windows, floorings, you know, heating, cooling, vent functionality, electrical systems, okay, plumbing and drain functionality. Now, one thing that I want to put, because you'll have your buyers, they're gonna tell you, code. This house is not up to code. Okay, a lot of them say that. When they're buying an old house, they say, well, I want them to do the repairs to bring it up to code. I say, but you tell them, look, you know, and the inspector should explain it too, because it's different when they hear it from the inspector and they hear it from the agent, that they know it's just trying to make a sale, you know, because I work both sides and I get that look when I tell my buyers, you know, hey, you know, it's built, if this house was built in 1963, it met codes of 1963, okay, from 63 to 2023, 24 now, there's a lot of difference. There's grounding, there's GFCI, there's things that didn't even exist that, you know, in 63. You cannot force a house that old to conform to today's standards unless you tear it all down and rebuild it. I go, you can't, it's illegal, okay? There's the grandfather clause, yes? Just like old classic cars, they can't say, well, you need to change your whole emission system and put a whole new emission so it can pass emissions.
But with that in mind too, when the let's say like FHA, the appraisal,
Safety. Okay, so if it affects safety,
Oh.
it needs it. So, let's say on that electrical system, that's the primary thing for FHA. Electrical, because you need to have, you know, you can't have those really old, rusted out fuse boxes unless it's in good working condition.
Okay, if it's in working condition, you
Yeah,
can. You
yeah,
can still
'cause
have the
there's-
round pieces.
Yeah, they still sell them. They're still
What about the
selling.
knob and,
It's-
Fuses, they still sell
It,
them?
yeah, you can still buy
and the knob and wire?
knob and two wire.
Knob and two wire?
Yeah, so knob and two wire, you know, you cannot force a system to be replaced and upgraded. You can just force a change to make it safe. Knob and two is safe, just don't touch it.
I thought as long as you didn't, like you say, as long as you don't mess with it, but if you
Yeah.
change one thing in knob and tube, you're supposed to change the whole.
No. You can do, because knob and tube has to run in like hidden areas,
Uh-huh.
like in crawl spaces, maybe attics. Knob and tube wiring is bare wiring for those that if you don't know. You know, so
Old
you'll,
school,
you'll
very
have
old.
very bare wire, and then they look like these ceramic things that screw onto the wall, and then the wire runs through.
Look like power lines.
Yeah, it looks like miniature power lines inside your house. And if you touch it, it's gonna shock you, you know, because it's bare, it's uninsulated wire, you know. So, you know, if you're changing an outlet or you're running extra wire, you don't have to replace your whole wiring system, you know. So it's just, you know, it's just that's kind of like maintenance stuff. GFCI outlets, you know, the little outlets with the buttons for the kitchen, that it will need that. FHA don't want that upgrade. It's an upgrade, not really a change. Okay? And it's just a simple putting the outlets, smoke detectors too. Don't want the smoke detectors. So small little things like that. Okay. Okay, how to pick and schedule the inspection. This is getting a little bit, you know, more important because more people are getting very sue happy. I mean, they just are. You know, people are looking to see. There was a survey done, and you'd be surprised how many people think the way I'm going to retire is hopefully I can sue somebody and make a lot of money. I mean, it was
20% of all Americans believe that their retirement plan is to sue somebody.
sue a corporation,
Yeah.
and that's how
Sue
it goes.
Walmart for sleeping on
Right.
the floor. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, when I worked in the mall, when I was mall security, before I was a cop, they always had 3 to 5 lawsuits pending at a time. The mall, because people would slip and fall in there. Some people did it on purpose. You know, you can see it. Some people would spill water like that and then walk and then slip, and then start yelling. You know, oh, I slipped. Like, you dumbass! I saw you. I saw you put that water like that. The law straight up says common law is you're responsible where you're walking. So most people didn't win anything. They didn't win anything because you're responsible to look where you're going. If you see water or you see oil on the floor, don't step on it. You know, that's common law. Now, the problem is that insurance companies settle to make the case go away. Okay? Just like when I got sued, well, attempted lawsuit, because I debunked that guy real quick, you know, but he was so mad because my insurance wanted to settle. And I said, no, I don't give anybody money. If you want money from me, we're going to trial. Because I know the courts. I go, so I've been in court a lot. I said, you want money? We're going to trial. Insurance didn't want to because it costs too much and the risk. The other attorney, you know, he didn't want to keep going with it, dropped the case, and we were done. No money paid to anybody, right? But if it was, that was only for $5,000. But if it's multi-millions, you know, they're gonna settle. They're gonna say, you know, you're suing for 20, I'll give you 2.5. Shut up. And most people will take it. You know, all right, this is what I wanted. You know, so you see, everybody knows, more and more people know, especially with the real estate lawsuits going on, everybody knows that realtors got money. Not the realtor themselves, but the corporation, you know, and the insurance for the corporates. We have to have millions in insurance, you know, because the state requires it because of the lawsuits, right? One major thing is adverse material defects. Okay, adverse material defect is something in the house that the seller knew about, or probably the agents, they hid it from the current customer, the current buyer, and then now they're stuck with a house that has a big defect. They should have been discovered. And it trickles down. See, to win a civil case, you see cases on TV that you're innocent until proven guilty. That's criminal law. Criminal law is done by proof beyond a reasonable doubt. Civil law is preponderance of the evidence, which means is it 51% probable that you were at fault? Only 51%. If it is, judgment's against you. Where in criminal, proof beyond a reasonable doubt is all 12 jurors have to say not guilty. Right? That's how the law works between criminal and civil. So that's why so many people can get sued and lose or win, because you only have to make your case 51% probable. Okay. So inspections, most lawsuits come out of these inspections. Okay. So advise your client the inspection needs to be done as soon as possible. For it, provide a list of state licensed home inspectors. Now, I know we have our favorite guys. I have my favorite guy, right? And I think most of us use him here, right? You know, but there's a way to do it. Okay, you can recommend certain inspectors you have experience with. New Mexico is getting so strict; they don't want the agent booking the inspector at all. The buyer has, I don't know if you've heard that already up here.
No.
So many of my agents, you know, Albuquerque, it's all because of Albuquerque, man, but my buddy that works over there, but they don't care. They're still breaking the law. but that's working out. But anyways, you know, the safest way to do it, because one of my buyers try to come back at me, is you provide the list, right, of the inspectors, and you can tell them, hey, these certain inspectors here, you know, like if this is a list, you have a few. I go, this guy here or this guy here, I have good experience with. I know that they do a good job. You know, I know that this guy, he doesn't do very good. Okay, you know, my previous client complained. You can tell them, and it's in the Real Estate Act, in the Real Estate Code, in track. It's in there, which is enforced by the Real Estate Act. So that you can tell them your experiences, not hearsay, not, oh, this other agent had problems. It's your experience. You know, remember, eyewitness is a true witness. If you're not an eyewitness, you're a false witness. Right? Law saying, okay. So if you have experience like that, you can guide them and say, like for me, like, you know, for example, JC, right? JC the fireman, right? He's done very good work from what I've seen. No problems, right?
Is
And
he on the list?
Yeah, he's on the list. Yeah. And I still got a complaint about it from one of the buyers. Your inspector did this, even though the buyer wanted me to book the inspection. He goes, you handle it, because I don't know anybody. Okay. He signed the document allowing us to book, right? And he signed the document saying he received the list of inspectors. But it didn't stop him from making a little complaint. They went away real quick, but still, some of them get big. I've been through numerous in my career already, okay? Because people are just looking, somebody else needs to pay for this. You know, not me. Well, you pick the inspector. Well, you pick the lender. You know, things like that.
So if they ask, can you go ahead and pick an inspector for me, can you just deny them, say, no, you pick it?
You know,
I'll recommend, but you tell me which one and I'll call.
That's what we were told.
yeah, so I know APD pushed that a lot. You know, Tony the guy, he pushed that a lot. That's the safest way to do it, is to say, you know what, in reality, because this is how I would explain it. The inspector works for you. As a buyer, the inspector is representing, he's doing the work for your knowledge. Not for the agents, certainly not for the seller. Okay, he's doing it for the buyer. The purpose of it is to help the buyer make a better informed decision. Okay? I said, so, you know, in reality, you should call and book. You know, call around, interview some inspectors, which is a little hypocritical because I don't do that. As an inspector, if the agent doesn't book it, I don't book it. Because buyers just don't know what they're doing. You know, now, what I would say though, is if you tell your buyer to book it, tell them these are the times we need it. You know, remember, you know, advise them that you need the inspection done as soon as possible. You have 7 days. It starts the day after contract execution. If your execution date is yesterday, first day today. The reason why they have it ends at 5 p.m. is because it's business hours. Because before, it used to end at 11:59 at night, your option.
Mhm.
And what did that cause? It caused agents to forcefully not go to bed till midnight for their option. Because if they would say, well, I go to bed at 8 because I take my kids or whatever, they didn't care. State law does not care. If your buyer sends you the termination, you need to send that termination to listing before the time expires. That's why it changed to 5. That's the only one that's 5 p.m. All the rest are midnights because it's
Is
just
that calendar days or weekdays?
it's calendar days. Option period is calendar days. It doesn't matter if it's Christmas, if it's your birthday, whatever. Earnest money is work days. If you read it, it says, you know, any day that's not Saturday, Sunday, or legal holiday.
What?
Earnest money.
Earnest money.
Earnest money does do the weekdays.
Okay.
So if the last third day, earnest money needs to be delivered by the third day, we'll get off topic, but that's okay. You know, by the third day, if it falls on Saturday, Sunday, or legal holiday, then it's the next day following it.
Okay.
So if you execute Thursday, or let's say your first day is Thursday, second day Friday, third day Saturday, it goes Sunday, Monday now is when your earnest money is due. If Monday's whatever, Labor Day, whatever, you know, that day, then it falls on Tuesday.
Okay.
See?
But the option period starts the day after the execution date.
All of them do.
After,
Yeah.
after the execution.
If your execution date, let's say is today, you know, both parties sign, you execute contract, you're the last one to get it. First day is tomorrow. Because how fair would it be if you execute at 11:55 at night, you only have 5 minutes for one day? That's not fair. So it starts the next day. Okay. And that's day 1. Day of execution is day 0.
Okay.
And there you have day 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay?
God, it was-
Okay, how to pick and schedule the inspection?
Good to know.
Make sure you still have time after the inspection report is delivered. So that's why there's so many that say, this is our last day. Can you get me that report in an hour? You know, that's not right. Who messed it up? Right? So, you know, or maybe all the inspectors were very booked. But that's why I always tell your people, you know, if they tell you just handle it, you know, just do whatever your choice is. You know, I'm not going to tell you don't you dare book the inspection. You know, if your buyer wants you to call them, you know, whatever, you know, you can do it. You know, just make sure that you have to have those documents signed anyways. Okay, but always get it done as quickly as you can, so you don't have the report at the last minute, and then you're sitting there with your buyer trying to decipher everything and what you're going to negotiate for, and then having to wait for the seller to answer you, especially if it's on your last day, right? Because you have to make a decision whether you're going to save their earnest money or not by sending in that cancellation. Make a good effort to attend the inspection, especially if the house is occupied. Some sellers may not leave during the inspection process. Some agents don't like going to the inspection because they feel like they're in the way, they feel like they're interfering, you know, or some of them straight up tell me, I don't get it. Some agents have told me, don't even send me that report. You send it to the buyer and then the buyer will send me what they want fixed. I think that's a disservice. I think that's laziness.
Yeah.
And I think that's why the lawsuits exist. That's my opinion. So when I hear that, I say, you're lazy. That's what I think. Okay? And I told them, you're a lazy agent. And they get mad. You know, but I said, because you are, you know, you're not attorneys, but you are their representation. Okay? So that's how I see it. And then plus, you can mediate it. If you stay in control of the deal, you'll be in control of the deal. And it'll stay on the tracks, right? So attending it, you know, I don't like attending inspections either because I do them and they're just so boring to just sit there, right? You can do work. Remember how Maria was talking, where's your office? You know, your office can be there, especially if you have an inspector. It takes 3-4 hours, you know, and you can be there doing your stuff. An important thing is if the house is occupied, a lot of complaints come from sellers that they get, you know, hey, this is broken or this is missing. You know, I've been in so many houses that there's guns laying around. Okay, I've been in them where I saw stacks of cash in the dressers. I know it's a setup. I know it is, because I'll find a hidden camera somewhere. I was like, what are you doing? You that bored? You're trying to catch a thief, you know? But some people are like that. Some people are really like that. I've gotten there where I see the camera and I'll get the money. Go, here's your money. Put it in the drawer. Like to tell them, you know, like stop that. you know, but you never know. Important thing is some sellers may not leave during the process. The sellers should leave, but they don't have to. Okay? So if they, especially if they're elderly couple or disabled or they work from home, now that a lot of them work from home, I'll stop it at this slide so we can get out in the time. But this part's important because I've seen a lot of deals fall apart where the seller and buyer meet. It's just like going to court without your lawyers. You know, somebody's gonna go to jail, somebody's gonna get a bad judgment, something's gonna happen. Okay? So I saw it with the sellers, and didn't you go through a deal like that? Where the seller told the buyer something about a refrigerator or something like that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, a while back or something. But things like that, but it can be worse, you know. Hey, they'll say, oh, I can do that for you, especially on an occupied house. Some of the buyers will say, oh, this furniture, because I've been there. When I'm doing inspection, they'll say, oh, this is beautiful furniture. And so I'll say, oh, well, you know what, I don't really want to transfer, I'll leave it for you. Oh, great, and they're all happy about it. And then come closing, the husband's like, hell no, I'm not leaving that. And then they're all mad. Well, you said you were going to leave that antique chair or whatever. And then the agent's like, you didn't tell me that. I could have put it on a non-realty addendum. If it's not in writing, it don't exist. Now everybody's mad. Buyer's mad. Said, well, if they don't leave it, they're calling me a liar because they're usually gonna say I never said that. And they say you're calling me a liar. I'm not buying your house anymore. And then both agents are like, what the hell happened? You know? And now all of a sudden, no more deal and no more pay. You know, and everybody's mad. You know? Like, well, you see? I said the only one that got paid was the inspector. I remember those, you know? I said, so you see, it's always good to be there. If your buyer's gonna go, you should always be there. Mm-hmm.
But the buyer shouldn't go, right?
To the inspection? You know, in reality, I do like the buyers to go. I don't like it when they go to inspections when I'm doing them. But there is a benefit to it. The benefit is that they can be there and see the inspector working. You know, less complaints come out of it when they see the work.
Okay.
You know, because they see them and they're like, okay, he's looking underneath, he's plugging stuff into the outlets. He's shining a flashlight around. It's just like when you see, like, you know, if a police tells you, yeah, we investigated the area. Like, did you really? Or did you just park down the street somewhere and come back 2 hours later and say, we don't see nobody, you know, right? I said, so people like it when they can see it. And also if they have questions about it, or, you know, the inspector can explain.
And plus they're the ones paying for it, so.
Yeah, they're the ones paying for it. It's different, the appraisals can be there for appraisers because the lender hires the appraiser, right? The appraiser works for the lender, not buyer or seller, okay?
Even though the buyer pays for it.
Okay, but I'll end it on this one. Remember to advise your buyer if they plan to go to the inspection. I always tell them, like the last buyers that I had that went with JC, you know, they wanted to be all over it in the beginning, you know. But I told them before we got there, you need to let him work. Okay, he's an investigator. Inspections are investigating. Okay, I go, it's like a crime scene. I go, you know, I work it like I did when I was a cop, as a crime scene. You know? And I said, so you don't want people all over you and breathing down on you and, you know, are you checking this? Are you checking that? You know, I tell people, if you ask me one more question, I'll leave you. I'll give you your money back and I'll leave. I said, because don't breathe down on me. I'm doing my job. Now, they can be there and watch and all that, but I tell them, the more you distract them, the more, it's like somebody's doing surgery on you and you're like, you cutting it right, doc? You cutting it right? But I mean, cuts a little wrong. It's like, how about that, dude? How about that? You know? Right. That's why I'm not a surgeon, right? But anyways, you see, does it make sense? You know, so you tell them, you know, like just let him work. Okay. All right. So I'll end it here, so we can give time to. Are you gonna need to use this projector? Yeah. So you could. I can just unplug and you plug right on in. But and I'll continue it on the next one. But this help you? Hopefully it makes sense and it helps you. Good. You know, and especially since, you know, I'm an inspector. If you ever get, you know, for your repair requests and all that, of course, I'll help you with all that kind of stuff.
Maybe one time we can put up the actual report.
What's that?
maybe one time you can put the actual report.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
show us an actual report.
Oh, well, yeah, I can do that.
That
And then
would be
what,
nice
like,
just
go
to
over
see.
like what the items, common
Yeah,
items?
one you do.
Yeah.
I don't know if we need it all dark though. Hey, good morning.
Morning.
You know, can
I
I
can
turn on
turn
the
it
other
on.
one? Yeah.
I can turn these on.
I don't think we need too much light. We won't look at the projector that much.
Yeah.
But I know some of you guys, some of you I don't, and the ones that I know, I'm very, very appreciative. Thank you, Maria, for the invitation as well, for letting the office know. The ones who don't know me, hopefully, you know, you feel comfortable. Very laid back, very knowledgeable. And I always have my phone on me, and I usually pretty much pick up all the time.
I talked to you last week.
Did
Terry
you?
Wilson, I remember, I don't know, and I was very impressed
Oh, thank you so
with
much.
your knowledge, yeah.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yes, it's
Um,
very good. We're working on a deal together right now.
And I want to start off, first of all, I didn't bring the Bentley today. That wasn't Bentley, it was the,
You should
Rolls-
see
the
that
Rolls
thing.
Royce.
It's bad.
I brought the Corvette.
Motor.
Oh, you got a Corvette?
So,
Parked outside, they go, let me see. Go see.
It's, we were in an open house with Maria, and I had my business cards next to the car, and I did it on purpose to try to attract someone to my business cards. And
Ah.
Billy,
work.
Oh,
what's that?
yeah. And then you guys been sitting for a while, so please get some snacks. It's like those rolls.
Before Billy eat them all,
Before Billy.
Billy eat them all. Yeah, go ahead and grab at least one. Billy can take the ones that you don't eat, but
He said anything else you got? You know, I'll take it. This one's cute, but yeah, it was. He had a Bentley, Rolls Royce type limousine.
Oh, nice.
Okay, I mean, this thing was that long. And you open the doors on it, you can even take the little umbrella out of the door.
Oh, wow.
I was gonna pocket his umbrella, but he caught me. That's cool.
That's cool. And this one, well, that's two of like a whole bunch of like.
Oh, really? You got a collection of this? Oh, man.
And that's not the best one. It's
Oh, really?
I got better ones.
Ah, that's good.
How's it going? Alright.
I have news for you.
Good, I hope?
Oh,
Oh, come on.
I'll tell you right now. Tell you right now.
Oh, man.
Here's my water.
Smart.
That's why you were waiting to be the last one. He wanted to play.
Thank you, Alan, it's good.
You're very welcome. Okay, so I'm gonna try to make it as painless as possible. Hopefully it's a lot of information that we can just cover quickly. I do have two presentations, but that's only if we can get to the second one, and just depending how you guys feel. You know, I respect your time. But more importantly, I was taking a peek at your guys' goals really quick on the board. And that comes with time and that comes with knowledge, okay? And it is true about partnerships. They very, very do come in handy. One of the key important things that you need to know as far as like working directly with us, with Barrett Financial, I'm very transparent. Very transparent. As a matter of fact, as transparent as I was seeing this, Maria was kind enough to invite me to be able to add my information on here. Something that happened with eMortgage, nothing directly with eMortgage, it was just the office itself. So I did switch to Barrett Financial, but it's the same concept, same everything. What they are is their brokerages. So we have, you know, we can say more than 100 banks, but the way I see it is, yeah, I have 100 banks, but I work exclusively with like a handful of them, right? Because there's different systems, different ways, different underwriting. I know which ones are the best ones based on technology, based on readiness, based on speed of service. And what I tell my clients is afterwards you stop working with me, I don't want a bank that's gonna be giving them a headache and then their servicing rates being changed. Now, what's a servicing rate? Whenever a bank purchases the customer service or the billing, it's called a servicing rate. And you may have borrowers who every year, not even once, but maybe twice or 3 times during the year, will get a letter in the mail, not even a nice, you know, notification saying, hey, Wells Fargo bought you out. Hey, this bought you out. And it's a headache because you get all your ACH transaction information for your bank and your routing and you're used to it. So that really doesn't go with me because we're in the long run, right? We're here to produce and then we're here to start reaping rewards because of the professionalism, the customer service that we're giving. I expect the same with the banks that I use, so just so you know that's going to happen the same way. I do want to congratulate Seishi because I didn't want to call you this morning, but we have cleared a close for you.
Oh, okay, so, I thought it was bad news.
No, it's good.
I'm like, oh, what's it gonna be now?
Yeah, and I would have been like, hey, baby.
We need an answer for that.
The call.
Yeah. So we learned so much about every single file. I always tell, even the years that I've been doing this, there has been no file that's been the same. Okay, so that's where you have the liberty to reach out and then work things out. With Ms. Barrow right now, I also want to thank you so much and congratulate you because we do have a pre-approval for your client. I know you're working hard on trying to make that happen.
We have an executed contract.
And that's great news for us.
Yeah, I was going to let you
Oh,
know.
wow. That's even better. That's even better. And Aisa, I've done several transactions with you, so thank you so much. Very, very honored. And the Fede, he's the one that bugs me the most.
Of course, you know that
Who's gonna keep
I'm
it
a
there.
bugger,
Of course.
not a bigger.
No, we work together. So I'm gonna talk about non-traditional credit. Okay. So to start off with, I kind of wrote some things down because my mind runs wild. But let's just say, think about it. So someone comes into your open house and they're looking at it, whatnot. They're coming with someone else, and the first thing they say is, no, I'm not here because I don't qualify. Well, why not? Because I don't even have credit, right? And this is where what would you, let me ask you, like one of you guys, whoever wants to answer, what would you think your response would be?
Send them to you.
Well, that's a great one. That's a great one. But wouldn't it be better, instead of having to depend on your lender, to at least have a little bit of knowledge, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because they're gonna see you and be like, hey, well, you're gonna be the one that's gonna help me. And this is how you're gonna start beating your competition. Because they go to different open houses, but as soon as they see someone that's knowledgeable, and they're the ones who didn't call their lender, like they actually know, not the ins and outs, just enough for you guys to be able to win it, then that's where I wanna get you, okay? So, what else could you guys say? So, I've heard this. Well, you know what? Can someone add you to their credit cards? That's called an authorized user. Okay. I've heard, go get some tires, go get a credit card, go buy something. Well, first of all, that increases their DTI, right? Second of all, realistically, if they have no credit whatsoever, they're probably not gonna get best terms, right? They're gonna get horrible terms. So you're having now wait 6 months to a year to potentially have a borrower. Now, normal underwriting requires 12 months of credit history. So think you're gonna be able to get that that client back in a year?
Maybe.
Probably not.
Odds
Probably not.
are not
Well, I think
great.
it depends on you as a person,
Yes.
so.
But how about if they go to the next open house and then they talk to Seishi and Seishi says, great.
Yeah, because whoever comes to me is gonna stick with me.
Exactly. Yeah. So you shouldn't be afraid when someone says, I have no scores. You should be like, you're
perfect.
you're talking to the right guy, right? Why there's two different kinds of credits for us. There's traditional credit, and we talked about that, right, Maria? What's traditional credit?
FHA, VA.
Oh,
Credit score,
Order credit or your debt to the income ratio.
so
car loans.
there you go.
Good credit.
So your traditional credit is when you go and you sign for something and you get a car, you get a credit card, or you get a mattress, right? Sometimes when you get a personal loan, depends where you get it. Like if you go to La Plaza downtown, they may not be reporting to the credit bureau. So that's not traditional credit, right? But it can become non-traditional. So I can almost assure that every one of you in this room, if you were to tell me I don't have any credit, I know that you at least have non-traditional credit that I can use. Okay. Anybody here pays rent? Okay. Anybody here pays utility bills? Gas, water, right? Have you guys gotten one of those loans where they don't report, like talking about those tires? You go get like those quick loans and you have to pay it back and, right? All those, exactly. Those are, see, the merchant, which is Visa, MasterCard, all these, the merchant isn't required to report your payments out to the credit bureaus, which is the three major bureaus, Experian, TransUnion, Equifax. Because why? It's not required. It's and it costs them money, right? So there's a lot of things like your apartment complex who's not going to be reporting you unless you move out and then you end up owing them something and they want their money back. Then that's when they're going to be shelling out some money for it to be reporting. By that time, it's not going to be something that's going to be reporting good in your favor. However, many of us will have utility bills, a monthly rental, cell phone, right? You guys can't live without, you can't conduct business with a cell phone nowadays. Internet service, same thing. Okay, so all these things what we can use is what we call non-traditional credit. Okay, so wow. So next time you guys have someone that says I have no credit, they don't have credit reporting, however, I can get you into a home. So we're gonna learn about the differences between non-traditional, what non-traditional does versus someone that actually has credit. Okay. Questions? Interesting?
Yes.
Cool, okay. Okay, well I have another question for you, but, so we went over that. That's why I don't use the slides a lot, I like to talk, but basically, you need to know this. In order for us to use non-traditional credit, we have to have 3 trade lines. Okay, 3 trade lines. So that means 3 things reporting on their credit. One must-have has to be rental history.
Okay.
How many months?
12.
12 months. Can be more? Yes. Those 12 months,
At least.
we cannot have any late payments. Okay? Any. Yes.
Can it be, well, 6 months I lived here and then I moved?
Yeah. Of course.
In general, right? It doesn't matter on one spot, just in
No,
general.
doesn't matter. No, that's fine. However, how about if they're not late, they're paying, but they pay cash? Can we use that?
Receipts?
Receipts.
Receipt, what?
I can go with Federico and grab one of his receipt books and I can sign it. So no. So no cash. Money orders?
Yes.
Is it traceable? Yeah, that's,
Oh, wow, cause I pay cash.
I do cashier's
So
Yeah.
money.
Is cashier's check considered cash?
it's verifiable. which is what the bank needs. It
Okay.
needs to be verifiable. So anything that's verifiable is wire transactions, money orders,
Checks?
checks. Yes. There's been, and I'm not gonna say 100%. I'm gonna say this is very, very off, but it just there has to be a lot of flexibility with the underwriter. And this is what we call an underwriter discretion, right? They don't have to go with it, but they may consider it depending on other factors. One is if you do have receipts, like manual receipts, but we do show the banks, like the bank statement withdrawal, that within the first 5 days you withdrew, like let's say the rent is $1,500. You withdrew $1,500, and then within those 3 to 5 business days you make the payment, then I have a case to make, right? But iffy, okay?
So that's still not like a guarantee, but it's a possibility.
Right, and then that's something like when they sit down with the lender and we go over income, we go over all this. Something I was telling Maria is I have to be also very careful because we don't want to discourage someone. And you've seen, how they've gone to different lenders or they talk to the lender, they get discouraged. And then later on, they don't want to buy. I've had people in my office who have cried because I've given a pre-approval because they had gotten it denied months ago and they were like in disbelief. Okay. There's a lot of things that go on with lending, but we don't want to discourage people by saying, hey, you have a rent, you pay for utilities, you pay for internet, I can get you approved. We don't want to go that route. Okay. First, want to have them sit down. Hey, you can get approved this way, but now you can, let's sit down and talk about your finances. Obviously, you don't have anything on your credit report, so there's no other debt to income or DTI issues that I'm going to have to resolve. But two big things. Whenever you're talking about underwriting, we have an underwriting system. Okay, that one gives us the pre-approval. And then once we gather all the documents and actually goes to another underwriter, like a physical underwriter, that's another story. Okay, but the manual underwrite, as long as we see that they have the trade lines, it'll approve it. But the back end ratios, it's 38 over 43. What does that mean? There's a front ratio and a back end ratio for debt to income. Okay, the front ratio is what? Your household. Right? So 38% of your household income, or of your income, can go towards household. Anything above that gets denied. We're talking about non-traditional credit, okay? Non-traditional. So then I have to be very careful with telling you, hey, you're approved because now our ratios are lower. So that means, cool, yeah, we don't have a lot of debt, but if you're making $8 an hour, even if you don't have it, and I'm going to qualify you for $80,000, I'm going to have you go through all this work, and I'm going to, have you, hyped up to say you're approved for $80,000. That guy's not going to come back to me, okay? And I don't want it not to come back to you guys. So we will sit down and be like, okay, let's discuss income to make sure that we're not over exceeding expectations. If someone wants a $180,000 home, $250,000 home, then let's get that out of the way and then we'll move forward. If that's good, then we're going to move on and we're going to create the non-traditional credit. Okay. The way that non-traditional credit is created, let me go to my next slide. I'll talk about that in a second. Okay. The way that non-traditional credit is going to be done is I'm going to ask your borrower, I need 12 months bills from your electric company or from your gas, whatever. And I'm gonna check to make sure that they're not late. Because if they're late, we're not gonna use it. But if they're 12 months, they're consistent, they're not late. Late means they're not over 30 days due. So they can be 15, even 29 days. As long as it hasn't hit the 30-day mark, then we can still use it, okay? Obviously, the more history, the better, but we just need 12 months. Cool, okay. Any questions?
Car insurance too?
Yes, car insurance. Yeah. Oh, for cell phones, it just can't be Cricket. or any
Oh,
like,
come
yeah. I don't know why they cancel. They look at cricket and they're like,
Oh, really? So he has to be like Verizon?
Verizon,
Mobile.
AT&T,
Has
The
to
big,
be
the
Metro.
big guys?
no Metro.
No Metro.
Yeah.
I got
Why?
T-Mobile.
Metro's
T-Mobile.
Why not though?
Is it because they're a month to month thing?
Yeah, technically the other ones are month to month, but since they have you purchase the phone and they have you under they have you like, they have you there, that's why.
Where they have us, that what?
Wait,
Like the,
cricket or
because
Verizon?
if you go to Verizon,
Uh-huh.
they're like, hey, we're gonna give you a phone, but we're gonna credit you $30 a month, so the phone's actually gonna be free in 3 years from now. But if you cancel, you're gonna owe us the phone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what they want. But if you go to Metro and you get like a $100 phone and you don't owe the phone, you don't have a contract, the underwriter's gonna be like, there's
There's no
you know,
commitment.
there's no commitment. Great
Well,
word.
that would work also for the major ones like T-Mobile and all that, because you don't have to have a contract.
But they sell out the phone, so they give you credit every month for the phone.
But that's if you have a contract. Like, let's say like if you were going, because I buy the phones.
Yeah.
Like I just buy them straight up,
Mhm.
you know, but, so I don't have any contract.
True. So if you buy out the phone, but as long as it's Verizon, AT&T, T-Mobile, underwriters will take it
Just on
Because of
the
name.
history.
because of the way that they conduct business.
How about Spectrum?
Spectrum, yes.
Okay.
And I know it's weird because it's month to month, but they accept it. Okay,
Well,
it's
'cause
weird.
it'll still show if you pay on time or later.
I guess I don't know. It
So in reality,
They just don't like.
receipts
they
or
probably don't like cricket.
receipts are credit, right? It's proof of payment.
Yeah, proof of
So
payment.
you can use.
Yeah.
I've heard that before, but it's like, so you just keep your receipts,
Yeah, so that's your non-traditional credit.
and you can just use those. Say,
Well-
hey, don't run my actual credit, but just use these so we can get a loan.
Yeah, so we need 3. We need, first one was, the one you must have is proof of residence for 12 months, verifiable rent. And then the other 2 trade lines could be, we just discussed. And they don't necessarily have to bring like 12 months of bills. They can actually call the gas company and ask them, hey, can I get a letter saying my 12-month history? And that's just like 1 page.
Okay.
So just to get things out of the way, these are like things that we can't use. We cannot use non-traditional credit to say, hey, well, this guy, he got in some trouble. He has some derogatory credit. Let's add these to make the credit work better. That doesn't work that way. Okay. So for payment, that doesn't work that way. There's one thing that they can actually have, and it starts with an M. Which is medical payments. Right? So they can actually default in medical payments, and we can still add non-traditional credit. That's the only thing. Anything else doesn't work.
Question before.
Yes.
You said if they have no credit, is it the same if they have bad credit?
That's exactly what that covers. No, it's different. So if they have,
No credit on that.
yeah, if they have bad credit that's actually being reported to the bureaus, to the 3 bureaus, we can't use this.
You can,
Unless it's medical.
Oh, okay.
It's the only thing.
so this is people that don't have credit.
Right.
I don't know.
Okay, but
Okay.
there's 2 ways to have no credit.
Mm-hmm.
One is you don't buy anything, you don't have credit. The other is you pay cash.
Exactly.
What about people pay cash, I mean,
That's the nice thing, because if they have, let's say they go to a furniture store, like the buy here, pay here, all that stuff, and they have proof that they've been making payments, then we can use that to build a non-traditional credit. That's what it's for. Right,
But
so,
what did you mean? Just buy the whole thing in cash all the time? Is that what you meant?
Yeah,
Buying cash, the whole, yeah, all the time.
yeah,
So
exactly.
no, you don't,
There's no record.
you just have a receipt, one-time receipt. I mean, that is.
no, it's, so,
That
remember
is-
that's 12 months.
Yeah, in the 12 months
12
paying
months.
cash,
Yeah.
okay.
But the nice thing is I want to have ingrained is you should be excited whenever you have someone that says, I don't have any credit.
Yeah.
okay?
Cause we can still
Because
work with them.
I'm the guy that's gonna help you.
Right.
And this, even though it may not sink in like immediately, but like once you start, thinking about it, it makes complete sense. We pay for so many things out of our own pocket every single month, and it's not reported.
Mm-hmm.
Question for you guys: can we use non-traditional credit on conventional loans? That's the answer.
Yes.
Yeah.
Stacy says yes.
I would think so.
Well,
Yes.
that's what we're talking about.
Yes. Yes.
No.
Saying that.
What are these only for vehicles?
So sorry, but no.
Everybody else said yes.
No.
And here's the reason
No.
why.
Ah,
Only
Government.
Government loans.
So we're just talking about VA and
FHA.
no is that?
Conventional?
No
What's more flexible? Is what has more flexibility, an FHA loan or a conventional loan? Flexibility.
oh, wait, flexibility.
Not a better offer, because I know a better offer is conventional. But what's easier to obtain,
Oh,
FHA or
FHA.
conventional?
Yeah.
So think about it this way: when we're going down the line, like if you're accepting a contract and for you have a listing, and you see cash offer, right? First on my list. You see conventional, second on my list. You see FHA, bottom of the list, right? Why? Because if you have a conventional, if you have someone that got approved for conventional, chances are if conventional doesn't go through, if we flip it to FHA, chances are we'll get it approved.
But vice versa.
Not the other way around though, okay? So another reason is because conventional does not follow or does not carry a manual underwriting system. Manual underwriting is only for VA and for FHA. Here's an example. So if you have a 580 borrower, you can get it approved with the VA, you can get it approved with FHA. What we call an automated underwriting system will give you an approved eligible. If you have anything below that, many lenders, we do carry down to a 500. And we've done those two for Maria. We've done the 550 and a 5, I think we did for Maria. We did a 550 and like 526, something like that. Okay. We do those because we can go down to a 500 with a manual underwrite, which means manual underwrite has to have compensating factors. Anywhere from 1 to 3 compensating factors. I'm not getting off topic, it also has to do with this. Compensating factors could be reserves. Anywhere from 1 month to 3 months, which is what we're doing with your client, right? So her client doesn't have, Ms. Barrow's client doesn't have a lot of credit history, but we have good scores. We have a 642, something like that. However, it doesn't give us an approval because it's saying, well, there's not a lot of history, but we throw in a little bit of reserves and it gives us the approval. Okay. There's things that we had to do on that loan, but yeah, we got the approval. Same thing here, compensating factors. Sometimes we need anywhere from 1 to 3. One of them is going to be reserves. Reserves is a month's worth of your PD payment, which is principal, interest, taxes, and insurance. And if there's HOA, HOA is included. So 1 month, if the monthly mortgage payment is $1,000, 1 month is $1,000. If we require 3 months reserves, 3 months is $3,000.
So the reserves is whatever you ask for, or is it depending on how much the house is?
Well, I wouldn't ask them for anything but the system in order to approve it. Will-
So they have to have that money in the bank. Or
They-
reserves.
in the bank.
Reserves
Yeah.
is true.
So you just have to have that money in the bank, so
Yeah.
backup.
Exactly. You don't have to put it toward your closing costs
Oh.
or down payment. It's just money you have to show.
But it doesn't have to
There.
be in the bank, right?
Yeah.
That's there.
It does have to be in the
Yeah,
bank?
it can be a 401k.
Yeah, it can be a
Yeah.
401k.
Okay.
But as soon as they close the loan, Can they do anything with that?
They're done.
Oh, okay.
They can go out and spend it. They can
Oh,
go.
is
They
what
can
it's
go out and
like.
buy me a gift if they want. The thing is, it can't be couch money. It can't be in the couch and then say. Because we've had these instances with FedEx loans and ISA's loans too, where they're like, oh, but I have $5,000 in the mattress or somewhere. Well, what we do there is we talk to your borrower, we do different things, but then if the timeline is tight, we'll do it as a gift. Okay?
Oh, that was my next question.
Anytime you get an approval and you don't tell your lender or they don't tell you that the money's coming from a gift, everything is a risk, right? It's a risk analysis. So if you are bringing your own funds from your own bank and then you get a gift, it's not the same risk assessment. We can come from getting an approval to not getting it approved. We can go from getting a $250,000 approval to a $210,000 approval. So that kills your deal. So it's important for the lender to be very, very proactive with questions, and we talked about it again, how we conduct business is, if they tell me, Alan, I make $20 an hour. I work for this pharmacy. Okay. Do you get a W-2? No, I get a 1099. Right? We keep cross-checking. That's the key of a good lender. That's why I tell people, if you go to GCU, you go to these places, not to disparage them, but honestly, we don't get, like I'm with you guys. We don't get paid until we actually fund.
Yeah.
If I'm in an hourly or a salary position and I know I have continuous business, this is where we can be getting into, I'm not saying that they're a bad lender, I'm just saying that we can get into a comfortable position, right? I'm pretty sure they have great lenders. The thing is that I cannot get comfortable no matter what, right? And that's where I educate your borrowers. This is where you and I, we have to be close. It's not the realtor being close with you and then the realtor calling me and telling me everything you didn't tell me. It's getting to the point where you can tell me what you're telling your realtor and then some, because I'm the one who needs to know. Okay? Anyway, so yeah, we got that one wrong. So we went over it. Utility bills, cell phone bills, cable, internet. Here, I did some design stuff and it didn't work out, but I wanted to make it cool. Alright, we already talked about these things. I don't even know why I did a PowerPoint. So we'll move forward, but can down DPAs, can down payment assistance programs, bonds, government bonds, state bonds, municipal bonds, from third-party entities, can these be used with non-traditional credit? No.
Yes, because you're doing VA
Yes.
and FHA.
Yes.
I say no.
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 Technically, yes, but I'm gonna say no.
Oh. No.
No.
Okay, so technically, yes, but this is why I say no.
Actually, what I was thinking, because those, if you take it out, it's taxable.
Yeah.
So is that part of it?
It has to do with risk.
Okay, I was close.
So remember, everything is a risk, a layer of risk, a layer off of risk. The less risk we have, the better. The more DTI we can have. The LTV, the down payment requirements is less. But the more risk, in this case, we already have someone that has non-traditional credit. We already had to reduce their DTI. Plus, you're dropping in a DPA. The underwriter is not going to fly with it. Okay? How they would fly with it is, okay, I'll accept their DPA, but then you have like $50,000 in 401k reserves. Yeah, they'll do that. Okay, but chances are, probably not. So technically, yes. I'm going to say no just because it's it doesn't happen a lot. Okay? If they have $50,000 in 401k, they probably would have good credit. Okay? But yeah, there's a small chance that yes, we might have one of those. Remember how I was talking about manual underwriting? This is how we call it. So if you ever hear it from a lender, manual downgrade, that just means that a manual downgrade is going to be, for example, a 550 borrower with maybe like 2 trade lines, So let's just say a 550 borrower doesn't have a lot of history, just barely made it to a year history. That's probably gonna be a manual underwrite. So the automated system won't approve it, but we can get it into the eyes of an underwriter and say, hey, these are the compensating factors. They have 3 months reserved, or they have a month reserved. They're 2 jobs in. They have 2 jobs. One job they've been having it for 2 years or more. They make good money. They have another job which they've been there for less than a year, so we can't count it as income, but it's still income. So I'm not gonna count it towards like qualifying you, but as far as like a compensating factor, hey man, you're still making some money out there, so I'm gonna count it. These are what we call compensating factors. Let me see. Oh yeah, so this is another compensating factor that's pretty cool. Whenever you send me people, when I ask them, are you paying rent? And they'll be like, no. And that's because they think I'm gonna count it towards them. Absolutely opposite. Positive risk factor is positive rental history for 12 months or more. And the more they pay per month, the better. Okay. So if you have a client whose their mortgage payment is gonna be $1,800 a month, and they're already paying $1,700 a month, that's called, well, we call it payment shock when they're paying for some, let's say they're renting and they're paying $1,000 and all of a sudden their mortgage payment's gonna be $1,500. That's payment shock. Like, yeah, it sounds nice, but then when they actually pay it, they're in shock, right? That's how it is. But when we can offset the payment shock because they're already used to paying this or more, that's a compensating factor. Larger down payment, we talked about that. 1 month's reserves, up to 3 months reserves, depending on the number of units. Let's see. And that's okay, so things to consider. I think we already went through this. Oh, cool. So I'll go to my next question. Maybe you guys will get this one. Okay, imagine this. So we have at least one borrower with a credit score, and the other doesn't. So 2 borrowers, one with a credit score, one without. Okay. Do you think we can add them? Do you think we can use this non-traditional program for the one who doesn't have the score?
With the full
Yes.
signer that has a credit?
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. It could be the goal or the primary.
I don't know.
So here it comes again.
So you can't, the question is,
I know.
No?
Like he
Might-
knows we're gonna say the
I
opposite.
think if you guys take a bite out of the snacks, you might get the right answer.
What's the
what was the question?
2 borrowers.
Uh-huh.
One, no FICO scores.
At all.
The other one has scores. Do you think we can implement this non-traditional credit?
And they're buying a house together.
It doesn't matter if they're occupying it or not, and I'll cover that in just a second. But let's make it simple. So 2 borrowers, one has FICO score, one doesn't have it. Can we use a non-traditional credit?
I would
Say
say
sure,
sure.
he said yes.
I say yes.
Yeah. we
I
got
go
it.
with the number.
Well, this is the only one that wasn't yes.
Even says we can call like
And the answer's right there. So, but there's a caveat. Oh, I don't know how you say caveat. Caveat.
There's a catch.
And I had to write it down because I didn't want to mess you guys up. But if less than 50% of their income being used is coming from the person that doesn't have any scores, then we need to add them. We need to add non-traditional credit. Okay. So I'll say it again. So if the borrower that has the most income, 50% or more, doesn't have scores, we can implement, or we'll have to implement the non-traditional credit.
Yeah, because there's no
Right.
support, there's no credit.
So 51 or more.
Okay.
If less than 50% of the income is coming from the borrower who has no scores, we don't even need to do non-traditional credit. We can just move forward. Why? Because the majority of the income is coming from the one that actually has
And
the
the
scores.
credit. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, it's like the
Oh.
guys think?
Awesome.
Nice.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So you feel more comfortable?
Yes.
And that's exactly what I would like for you to say whenever you get a borrower who has no credit, and you can be like, awesome. Okay?
I got you.
Exactly.
Just gave
Okay.
me so many ideas.
I wanna open it up for questions. Like, it doesn't have to be about this. It could be about Billy.
Property supervised.
I know, I'm kidding.
What'd you say?
No, actually, no, his videos, I'm horrible. I'll be, like, I'm really good at what I do. I'm horrible at what he does. Like, I cannot get on the roof for the life of me. I will. Just to get on the roof is a nightmare for me.
I have a question about my money.
This is perfect.
Right? So if she only has 2,000 in reserves, the other one, the 1,500 can be from her brother, but she needs to have a gift later, right? For that. or-
Yes, good question. We will add the 1,500 as part of the down payment. And she'll take the, what she was using for down payment, and we'll use it for reserves.
But she needs to show where the other 1,500 is coming from.
So a gift.
A gift.
Okay, so the gift can come from a direct,
Like from her brother, for example?
yes, it has to be from direct family. So
Oh.
no
Oh,
second
whoa, whoa,
cousins.
whoa. It has to be from
Yes.
direct family?
Yes.
Oh,
Not
So-
a friend, or not a realtor?
Or not us?
No. You can give them
But with that in mind though, if it has to be a direct family and it's a gift, technically they can get it from anybody, they just have a direct family say, yes, I gifted you, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's not like the lender's gonna go out and get a blood work or anything, but.
Well, I mean, they can get a letter from their direct family even though that money came from elsewhere.
True.
oh.
You just
But here,
need to check the system.
Yeah.
You gotta do what you gotta do to make that deal work, right?
But that's why you have to clear the close.
really?
Yeah,
The what?
that's how you got to clear the close, cause you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Outside the box and outside the law too sometimes.
If y'all need help, I got you.
Okay. How many, let's say you have a grandmother that wants to give you and the other side of the grandmother wants, how many gifts can you?
As many as you want,
Oh,
as long as it's direct family. So direct family, mother, brother, siblings, sons, daughters, even foster kids, adopted children. It just can't be aunt and uncle, it can't be Fede. You know,
I don't have any.
no friends, nothing like that. Okay.
no,
Especially
no,
when
but
you
remember,
guys-
you're my brother, or no, you're my late husband's brother or whatever.
Now, the
We're
cool thing,
related.
it doesn't have to be seasoned,
Uh-huh.
right? Normally, banks require it to be seasoned for 60 days, so verifiable for 60 days. Gifts don't, that's how we like.
But that needs a letter.
But it needs a letter, and we don't have to show the whole bank statement, we just need to show that the person who's giving it to you actually had the funds.
So they have to show they had it?
Yeah.
So
So
they
you
might
have
have
to
to
have
get
a
a present
statement?
from someone else too then.
Yeah.
But- but
How
I
do-
mean-
So they have to show their bank statement.
Look, I'm gonna like turn around and say this. If your borrower has $5,000 and they deposit into their mom's account and they wait a week, then we can still accept it as a gift as long as it's coming from the mom's bank statement.
Oh.
Okay?
So,
So you didn't say that.
I don't know.
So it's not just the letter, it's not just, you actually have to have the funds in the bank, is that right?
Yes. But it doesn't have to be seasoned.
Huh?
It doesn't have to be seasoned. So we don't have to have 60 days like a traditional.
Okay.
Oh, you can get yourself. Okay.
so if we do come across a buyer that's gonna get, like, they're talking about, oh, I'm not looking at buying a house right this minute, but I'm gonna get, I don't know, my parents are giving me some money, so it'll be like, well, since you're not looking right this minute, have them get that money right now, put it into your account and just don't touch it,
Yeah.
and then we don't need no letter or nothing.
Yes. The thing is, sorry guys, the thing is, we got, it's a client actually.
Oh.
I'll just text her that I'm gonna call her back. The thing is that we would prefer that they send the funds directly to the title company. because it's less docs. And one of the things that you gotta understand is if you're using an account and you have an insufficient fund and your mom transfers it to you, even though you have like $1,000 now or $5,000 now, if there's an NSF in there, the deal can go completely sour.
NSF?
A non-sufficient fund fee.
Oh.
Or now that we do like Zelle or stuff and they see like recurring Zelles or other like non-traditional credit like your tires or stuff like that, and they start seeing these things in your bank accounts when before I didn't have the need to show it, then I'm out. There's no way to undo that. Yeah, the thing is that now I have to add that to, now I have to do a letter for that, now I have to get 60 days bank statements from you, and if it's actually something that is something that's shown that you're paying monthly, now your DTI increases, and if we were limited, then we're the deal's off. Right? Other questions?
I was gonna ask you, if we have a client, how do you want everything, do you wanna talk to them first to get everything together before she goes? Or are they going to say they want me to go to?
Yeah. Cool. So I've been, before I did all this, I did sales door to door, and then I also did like 9 years of customer service, team lead and all that stuff for 9 years. And one of the things that you'll see me, and Fede has seen me, is I actually take your phone, and I've been walking out, and I'll actually take the application while I'm walking around the whole building. Reason I do that is one is I am very familiar with the process, very familiar with the questions, and kind of like I was saying, I don't sit down, name, last name, email, social, can I run your credit, let me see it. Way I like to do it, I can do it that way, don't get me wrong. And first I have an ear when I talk to people. If those are the ones that just kind of want to run you down on the phone and be like, in 5 minutes I want to do the app, I can do that. But then I also have clients who really want to have detailed information and are really scared of the process. And those are the ones that I start to cater to and then hear, have the ear for that. But that's just because I've done it for such a long time. But normally the way I like to conduct business is I'll probably walk around, or even when I'm sitting down, I won't even look at the application. I'll build a rapport, tell them who I am, how we work, why we're the professionals, why you should choose us, and then what do you do for a living? And then I kind of start like, oh, cool, you do that, okay, cool. Start asking the questions where I double check everything that they're saying. Right, to make sure that I know exactly what they're saying is accurate. It's not just like, okay, do you do overtime? Yeah, I do overtime. Is it consistent? Yeah. Okay, so every week, how many hours do you get? Well, so I start pivoting towards different questions based on the responses. So to make to answer your question is the way I prefer it. Build rapport with your client, build trust. And then once I know that I've gotten the questions down, I will tell them, I'm going to send you a homework list. The homework list is very professional, has all my information, it has the links, it has secure links, and it says specifically what docs I need from whoever I spoke to. So if it's joint borrowers, these are the things that I need for both of you, but individually for Oscar, I need this from you, Oscar, and Maria, I need this from you, Maria. Okay? Why? Because if I ask them what's your date of birth, what's your social security number, and I run their credit, unfortunately, it's harder for me to get them to send me documents. But if I'm on the phone and I've answered all their questions and I built a rapport, and I tell them I'm about to send you an email within the next 5 to 15 minutes, it's gonna say homework list. I need a few pieces of information from you. Driver's license, easy. Social, easy. It doesn't even have to be PDF, just take a picture. Pay stub, easy, and a bank statement. Shoot it over. From the driver license, I have your date of birth. I have your driver license number. I even know who you are now. Social Security, copy of Social Security, I have it there. And the pay stubs. Now I actually have pay stubs to go along with that. If they just tell me I make $20 an hour, but I see that their year-to-date is off, I'm gonna be like, well, it doesn't make sense. $20 an hour, you should be making X amount of money, but you're making less. What happened? I can call them back and say, hey, were you out on leave of absence, or what happened? No, I switched jobs. Well, you didn't tell me about that job. Send me that one. See, so now, and then if you get a contract, I'm not running and saying, hey, we got a contract, I need your things now. I actually have them in the folder, push them out. Okay. But I can, Aisa prefers to have her clients sit down with me, and how long do we normally?
Like an
Hour? Could be hour and a half, 2 hours.
Yeah, that's what I was asking you, what do you prefer, or what should I do? Just give them your number and you will call
Yeah.
them and then we'll get together. I mean, you know, some people can't even just send you information on, you know, how, I know I have this lady that might not be able to just shoot it to you right away.
Come and walk in. It's up to how I hear them.
Oh.
Okay. I love it when they come and sit down with me because, like I said, I used to do sales before. So the minute that I know that someone would get in a car, even though they didn't even want that car, they're driving away with that car. They're like 90% sold because they're on the car. So when they're on the seat with me, they get to know me. They get to know that I'm real. They get to know that I'm genuine, that I'm knowledgeable, that they can confide in me, and then it makes my process way easier.
So it's better to schedule a sit down with you.
I would prefer it. Yeah, and I don't have a problem with it.
Okay, so they call you or I'll call you and we can go in and get appointment with you.
Yeah, but then we also have the technology, which is super cool because it's
Yeah, people prefer that.
they apply now. Yeah, they apply now. They fill it out, and that thing is like so detailed. So detailed. And then they can actually upload documents to that same application. And I can deny or accept whatever they send me. And I told them, cool picture, man, but this is not what I asked you for. I'm not going to say it that way, right? But you get it, you know. Yeah, but we build trust. I mean, we've had clients who, you know, even during and then after we go out and eat and stuff like that. That's how close we get to your clients as well.
But you take my client out to eat, I need to.
You need to
Oh,
go.
yeah. Oh, yeah, you need my credit.
Yeah. Well, and so you guys are my clients, right? Like, literally, you guys are my clients. Without you, it'd be super hard for me to make any deal happen. Okay.
And without you,
So-
it will be hard for us to.
But that's why I respect the fact that you brought a client, and I need to give them the ultimate attention. Because if I can get your client to be happy, like I can close your loan. A lot of people can close your loan, right? The thing is, will they want to come back with me? That means will they want to come back with you? Right. I had another presentation. I think this one went a little longer. The other one's gonna be for national. We'll probably take it. I don't know if you.
We can do it, I mean, if you wanna do it again next Monday,
Yeah, I'm definitely down for that. That would be incredible.
we do the same type of sound.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Anything else, guys? Cool. All right. Do you like the car?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, but I won't be there.
If I may. You didn't get my quiz
Yes.
card?
Is that for
You
you?
get the new one.
Oh, just
Yeah.
I think you guys have yours, right?
Uh-huh.
Basically, that's the new one.
Awesome,
You know,
appreciate
they
it.
come more to,
Yeah, wait, right now.
and we can give them out.
Thank you. Yes, oh yeah.
You remember her? She was from the barbecue party, pie party.
Oh, oh.
Yes. I guys, you know some
Yes, how, oh, okay.
from the barbecue.
Same,
I hope you guys feel comfortable.
Appreciate it, man.
You're very welcome. I'll call your client in just a little bit.
Okay, sounds good.
You need information or?
We're still good?
Oh,
No, I'm gonna,
Oh, okay, yeah.
get with the closing department.
Yeah, I mean,
We have to close.
feel free,
Wednesday.
all tax review, how many?
All right.
Set up the appointment with the title.
Okay.
Excited, man?
I'll make it
My
happen.
personal cell life.
Well, maybe because we
No, thank you. He's married to the broker, that's why. That's the only reason. Even right now, she got more experience than I do, much more. But I think that I don't know if I joined before you or you were, did you join the broker right away, or you just waited a little bit. About the same time. I almost started with you. Same time they opened it. I think they opened it in February or March. 4 years ago. And then I joined as a partner. So I invited them. So you go to the
Okay.
Yeah,
And I do have a little money, I'm working. So if you have any questions also about that. I mean, I'm that's what I always
My son has the tiny one and the bigger one.
Whatever they ask me. Oh, really?
Did you take them before? Cool. Me too.
We'll meet a lot of times.
Wait,
Yes.
that's vegan.
That's vegan? Is that supposed to be important? You're so dumb. I know, it's pretty bad. Wait, the added sugars is 68%. Oh, it's
If he likes it, the other people, I mean,
It's a honey butter.
that's all.
It's terrible for you, it's part of it. Like I used to.
Yeah.
I'm not afraid talking to people. I mean,
No, I haven't lost any weight, but.
But I will.
Yeah, but I was with my son on that day and I told my
What's going down?
Oh, what?
Really elegant.
Oh, yes, when is your closing date?
It looks like